Market data for January is out, so we're going to go through those numbers coming up next. Hey, what's going on, friends? Dylan O'Locker here with the Buy Big Island video blog, and we have the market data for January. And so we're going to take a look and see if some of those trends that we were seeing at the end of the year last year have continued on into this year. And so we'll get right into the data and take a look. And again, as always, we're looking at January 2019 versus January of 2018 and comparing the months in home sales, condos, and land. And so if we're looking at current volume sold, there wasn't a big change between January of 2018 and 2019, just a 3% increase. But there's a really interesting trend going on here. If we look at dollar volume and median price. And so what we're seeing here is pretty much same number of units sold, but a huge drop, or not huge, but a pretty big drop, 20% in the total dollar volume, which is basically indicating that the higher end homes or the higher dollar homes were not selling in as many units didn't sell in the higher end, so the total volume has dropped, and there's a lot more homes selling in the lower end, but that those lower end homes are shifting up in terms of median price, and that's why we have an 8% increase in median price. So pretty interesting dynamic here in the homes market, where there's definitely a shift downward in prices, and we're seeing that. If you look at homes under 500,000 in Kona right now, they're 20 plus, 30 plus homes any given week when you look. And if you did that 6-8 months ago, they would be in the single digits, 5 or 6 sometimes at most. And so there's a lot more inventory on the lower end, which is definitely causing that dollar volume to go down. But the median price is actually going up because there's a lot more selling, not at the super high end range, but a lot more stuff in kind of that $500,000 to $800,000 range. So interesting dynamic going on in the homes market. And then you have the average days on market down 5% to 61 days. We've been seeing that kind of 60 to 90 days average days on market, depending on the month. And then the final list to sold price is 90%. So not a big change there. That's down 5%, but still seeing some concessions there on the homes market in terms of how the final list to sold price when homes close. And then if you're moving on to the condo market, this is somewhat related to the homes market, but also pretty interesting, where you have 30 units that's sold, which is up 30%. So an increase in number of units sold, and then a big increase in the total dollar volume, up to 19 million, up 69%. So big increase there in total dollar volume. And then interesting here, median price pretty much stayed the same, down 1%, but pretty much the same as it was a year ago. And then average days on market is falling pretty dramatically, right? 48% down. So things are selling twice as fast as they were a year ago. So as we talked about in the past, a lot of times the housing market going up in price does push business to the condo market, because the condo market is more affordable. And we're seeing that here, where the housing market is somewhat stable, but the condo market is getting hotter because it's more affordable, and we're seeing a ton more volume selling. So that tells us that there's more higher end condos, higher price point condos selling than there was a year ago, with that big increase in dollar volume, because the dollar volume increase doesn't match the unit volume increase. It's over twice as much in terms of an increase. And so and then 97% final list of sold price. So people are getting almost what they're asking for on the condo market on average from the final list of sold price. So that's pretty interesting too. Land, there's only 5 units that's sold, so everything is way down across the board. And as always, the land is always a hard one to look at, because there's not that much land activity in Kona. But if we look at the larger market in general on the Big Island, we see the same type of trend, and as we're seeing just in the Kona market, where there was a small decrease, 17% in the number of current units, but a big decrease in the dollar volume across the island, down 30% in the homes market. And then the median price up a little bit, 10%, and average days on market up a little bit, 75 days. So we're seeing that Kona's a little bit faster than the rest of the island. And then the final list of sold price at 89%. So that's down 5. But again, that fluctuates kind of in that 90 to 95% range month over month. Same thing with the condo market. We're seeing that island-wide, as we're seeing in the Kona market, where 60 units sold, so that's up 9%. But then big increase, 25% almost in the dollar volume. So big increase in dollar volume, which is showing that the price points in the condo market is shifting up, and then the median price pretty much stayed the same. So interesting here that then we're seeing that 68% drop in days on market is showing that the condo market is selling faster than it was a year ago. And then again, the final listed sold price is 96%. So again, island wide, that final listed sold price is moving up, and people are getting more, almost what they're asking for on the condo market. Land across the board was slow this past month. There's only 109 units sold. That's down 40%. Dollar volume is down, obviously, also. And then median price is down a little bit. We're still seeing that median price pretty much fluctuate around that $40,000 mark. So not a huge change there. And then average days on market was up, so 30%. So the land is taking a little bit longer to sell, and we see that in general compared to the house and the condo market. And then also final list the sold price 88%. It's always a little bit lower than the house and condo market, but still close to 90%. So interesting trend developing here. We'll keep an eye on it to see if that continues. But I think in general, people are feeling that if you ask most folks that the housing market is there's a lot more inventory in the lower price range, which is a good thing. It doesn't necessarily mean prices are falling. It just means that there's more available. And I'm also hearing from escrow folks that there's a lot more cancellations in the J1 period, which is the inspection period for homes. And a lot of times that can be caused by the lower price point homes being on the market, which need more work, which may have some deferred maintenance, and will allow for more buyers to cancel when they find out what those things are after a initial home inspection. So we'll keep an eye on this and see if this continues. But interesting trend here where we're seeing the units pretty much stay the same in the housing market, but then the dollar volume falling pretty dramatically. So those $2, $3, $4, $5 million homes are not selling like they were. And there's a lot more selling on at those lower price points under 700,000. So if you have any questions or need any data from a specific market, as always, you can just let me know, and we will get that to you. And thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next week. Aloha.